Well, in order to get to the end, you must first start at the beginning. And since I, nor you, were not really alive back then, well, I was a baby. Let's start with the culprit. And the first person to have me. So let's go talk to my mom. Stop at her house. Let's go ask her. So, Mama, question. When I was born, what do you remember about that day? Like, I know it was obviously, say, cold, windy day, cold night in Kentucky.
Yeah.
How exactly did I end up being born there? Was you visiting Dad in the Army, or were you living down there?
We were living there.
So you and Dad and Glenn was living in Kentucky when he was
Yes.
stationed? And were you living on the base or like off base and went to
Off
visiting?
base.
And then you just like, oh shit, I'm fucking gonna pop this baby out. I should probably go to the hospital, and that's where they took you? That was like the only option? Or that just, was it convenient or what?
Well, we had to, I was in started labor, and we was heading to the Army base. And, all of a sudden, when we were getting on base, we had to sit there and wait a second or two because they weren't going to let us on.
Yeah, I can see that. You know,
So it was
got a lot of gold in that one steel or something.
It was, God, I think it was early in the morning. Or late at night, I can't remember which one. But out on the way to the hospital, 3 big ass Army tank came out on the road like red at us. You want to talk about scared? I'm sitting here going,
Oh, you have to imagine.
well, I got there. Well, I finally got there. They put me upstairs, and they said, and my contraction stopped. And they said, well, are you sure you was, having labor pains? I said, yes, but I'll tell you right now, 3 big ass Army tanks come rolling down the road while you're trying to get here to Ireland Army Hospital.
Kind of took your breath away.
It was like,
yeah, I get that.
And so about,
Why
they
do I
left
feel like
me there. They left me in the room, and then they ended up inducing me. Okay.
Why do I feel like since I was on the Army, instead of being on the diaper, they should just put me in like a camo fucking cloth diaper? Because that's what they used back then. Just a camo cloth diaper and an Army hat. Like, ugh. And they're like, no.
Well, once I was in, when I finally went in for delivery, I was doing okay. Then I heard this girl just screaming, so I screamed like, "What are you screaming about?" I said, well, she was screaming. Well, I just thought I couldn't. And then when you came out, they said, they didn't say anything to me. I'm thinking like, what's wrong with my baby? What's wrong with my baby?
Normally they just,
because they didn't say nothing. And they all were just like looking around and questioning. So I had you. They let me hold you for like maybe tops 5 minutes, if that. And they said they was taking you to Louisville Children's Hospital. And I said, well, what's wrong with me? And they still never told me what's wrong with you.
Well, I mean, now we look back and, we know why. But, back in 1974, obviously.
Yeah.
Technology isn't what it is now, so people coming out like deformed or whatever like me, they didn't really know how to take it or accept it.
Then they stuck me, it was wintertime. Mm-hmm. They stuck me in a room. The TV didn't work. they wouldn't let me out of the room.
Basic shit.
I couldn't even get a freaking blanket because it was so cold. And I said, well, why can't I get up? What's wrong with my baby? You know, and no one still said it. Well, I was questioned, like, did you do drugs while you
were pregnant.
were pregnant? I said, no. You know, your dad smoked weed, but I didn't. You know, they said, well, what else had happened before you got pregnant? I said, well, in November, my brother died. And I messed up on my birth control pills, you know. And December came, I said, you know, no problem. Oh, gee whiz, I'm pregnant. January come, I spotted. April come, I started getting a cold. So I just took like 2 teaspoons of cough syrup. That's it. And, you know, got rid of it. But boy, did they drill me.
So how long was I at Louisville before they told you, you know, eventually
Well,
what they...
I had you on I want to say I had you on a Wednesday.
I looked on my birth certificate, but I couldn't find, like, the date, the time. Most of them do, but I couldn't find mine.
And pretty sure it was Wednesday, because your dad called Cheryl and Mom, and they were doing, you know. And so I begged to get out. They left me in that room. It was cold. The food they brought me was cold. Well, I'm sorry, we can't let you out of this room. And I said, well, why? Why can't I be around the other mothers? Did I do something wrong? What's wrong with my baby? They said, oh, all the babies have jaundice, and we don't want you to get it. So I begged, and they wouldn't. So Thursday, yeah, it was Thursday. Thursday, I begged to get out, and they finally released me, because there was no reason to keep me. You know, you weren't there, so why should I be there?
Nice.
Well, whatever you do, you go home and rest. Yeah, I went home. Next day, my sister took me to Louisville to see you. You were the cutest little thing in there.
Thanks, Shane.
And finally, oh, it did not.
I ain't the same. I'm so cute as shit.
And so I walked up, and Cheryl was with me. I can't remember if your dad was or not. But I looked at you, and I said, can I hold my baby? And I just looked at all the other babies in there, and I looked at you, and you look perfectly normal. And so finally a doctor come in and told, finally I got to talk to a doctor or a nurse. That one I don't remember. And they told me that your bladder was born on the outside. You didn't completely form. You were feeding him through his bladder because you didn't get that belly button to where. He said normally children, when this happens, only have heart conditions. He said, but other than that, and then they referred me to, you know,
other doctors for this and that.
And I think they checked you out and everything was fine. They told me make sure I kept that area clean and clear. And then your dad was getting shipped to Germany. So we moved home, and then they gave me the papers and referred me to, you know, Dr. Smith. So.
And Dr. Smith was my doctor at up in Columbus.
Yeah. Oh, gotta get my beer out. But oh, he was great. He was nice. And
What
You gotta
led?
remember in '75, you know, they didn't have the technology they have now.
Oh yeah.
You know, he said, well, let's just wait for a while, and let's see if his bladder will grow. Or your bladder didn't grow. That's why you went to children's hospital and had the stoma put in. You were 13 months old.
What finally led to him deciding that was the
Only
best alternative, or was that the only alternative?
at that time the only.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying.
Because
Like I said, I was born in '74, so but obviously I know, 48 years ago, shit's not like it is now. So
Yeah.
it happens
Well,
to someone
he
now.
said-
They're like, oh, we can clean that shit up right now. Pow, 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 pow. But
Yeah.
obviously then
Well,
they couldn't.
they were waiting to see if it would grow, and
Develop.
it didn't. Yeah. So the only other option was that.
So what led to the kidneys not forming as well too? Was it all based on because the bladder didn't grow, so therefore the rest of my internal organs also did not grow or
They
get
didn't.
strength
You
enough
know
to
what?
build?
They never told me that. I wouldn't know. But I know you went to Children's Hospital
Twice a
once
year.
a year.
Twice a year. I thought it was like every 6 months. I
Well, you
remember.
went up there
Well, probably
once
when I remember
to have
going,
them
it was every
check
2.
your kidney function. And then the next time we would go up
To see the doctor
and see Dr.
and
Smith.
give you the results and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what was the diagnosis back then? What did they say? Like, well, his kidneys are going to, work. He might be sick his whole life. He won't grow too much because of his height or whatever. What did they say? Anything to
They didn't.
precautions? Did they say he's going to be a normal kid after all this? But this.
It's more so, well, the kidneys aren't functioning like they should. But I didn't know if they ever said it was underdeveloped.
Yeah, they still say that.
I mean, back in those days, gosh, I was 19 when I had you.
Like, I don't know what it is, but sometimes I always remember, either hearing or whether from a doctor or from secondhand from aunties and aunts, grandma, grandpas, whatever, that when I was born, I went through the surgery thing that obviously medical terminology, medical isn't how it is now, but with his kidney not working well and not having a bladder, he probably won't
Oh, they told
live
me
to
you
be long.
wouldn't
He won't live long. He probably
was
won't be able to
told-
have kids.
yeah.
He probably won't be
Yep.
able to see this and see
I know
that.
Dr. Smith told me you could have children. But when I tried to get life insurance on you,
Pre-existing injury or condition, so they won't let me have
and
it.
they said, well, he won't live past 5 years old. And I'm thinking, I had that in the back of my mind forever. Like,
Now that's
so
they
you're
won't live for
telling
another
me?
year.
And I'm thinking, like, love to tell those insurance companies, hey, motherfucker,
Made it
he
48.
lived longer than that.
Made it 48, motherfucker.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah, I decided I've been doing my YouTube stuff and all my TikToks and talking about when I go to dialysis and having the new home dialysis. But after talking to the doctor the other day and everything they said,
Well,
I'm been doing a daily video blog and I'm trying to remember things from growing
I know,
up to what led me to the point to where my life is almost over now, and I just want to.
that's because they put you in dialysis too soon.
That's not this episode, but we will get to that probably more than once.
You kept getting he said it was like corns or something around your stoma,
No,
to where he had to go in there and take it out and reconstruct the stoma so you'll have better flow. And you
unfortunately.
told me you weren't supposed to drink Coke. I know, I tried. When you were younger, I swear to God, I needed to buy me a milk cow.
I would have drunk that. They ain't
Oh,
that
God. You probably sucked on her titty to get it nice and cold.
As long as y'all didn't try to trick me with goat milk like Grandma did one day and I threw it at her. That shit's disgusting. Fuck goat milk.
Yeah,
Fuck
but
that.
that's what I can remember.
Alright.
But I'll tell you right now, when they told me you don't live to be 5, that haunted me forever. When you passed 5, I smiled. 6, I smiled. Every year. See?
One more year,
You're
one more
a
year.
stubborn ass fucking.
Now it's one more
Now-
day. Now it's every day.
Yeah.
Hope I got today. Hope I got today.
Yeah.
Well, that was episode 2. Episode 3, 4, and 5 are already done, unfortunately. I did that last night. So, love y'all. Be good people.